Hi Aquarius, and welcome to your July 2021 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to talk to you about the energies coming in for your month in July. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful time coming into Cancer season and moving towards your opposite sign, Leo. We are about to be in a very activating time for your sign, though I think that you have a really good chance for respite and making things easier in the month of July. It really does need to get easier. I feel a lot of heaviness leading up to Leo season for Aquarius because it feels like you're really deciding how you want to project. You're really deciding how you want to crown certain things in your life, how you want to dress certain things up. Like the presentation factor feels to me to be something really of a focal point for you in July. And especially August as well, later July and into August. And it feels like there might be some details to iron out this month, though I think that the biggest cause for issue is just mindset or mantras or anything that is, not really that physical, actually. I'm feeling that any problems, any worries, any, big issue is a result of the mind and not so much a result of actual physical situations. I would beware of overthinking things or getting overwhelmed in the mind. And instead, I would step into action and I would really start to prepare to live in a way that is more integrity based and more clear. Okay, I feel that at this point in time, complexity is enemy of the good. Not just perfect being enemy of the good, but also complexity, like needing to make things really complicated, needing to have a really complicated way that you live or generate value in your life, needing to have many, many different sources of value, many different eccentricities, many different wild ways in which you create tends to lead to complexity, and it tends to start to overwhelm. So here in July, Aquarius is a very procedural time for you. It's very, in a way, sterile, and it's bare, and there's a barren way in which you can actually remove or omit certain experiences to actually have more. Okay, so perfecting things in a clean, easy way. Really tweaking, polishing, and optimizing what you have. Okay. Thinking more simplistically about what you're doing. Not rushing in any way. Pulling back, limiting certain things are all actually really good. Saturn and Jupiter are both now retrograde in your sign in July, so that's why some things might feel challenging coming into the month. I think you're leaving the month a lot better than you're entering it, but anything that is coming up as an issue, I think, as I said, is more mindset oriented. And if you are seeing it play out in the physical, if you're seeing like real, problems waiting to happen or any type of disagreement, it seems that it is a result of being too many people for too many people. What do I mean? Like maybe wearing too many hats, maybe having to console too many people, having to bail a lot of people out of their own problems. It feels like so many people are relying on Aquarius at this point in time. Even so many people are evoking in the same way that you do, or you might even feel a lack of originality in other people. Like you might feel like your own originality is perhaps like threatened by others. There's this kind of imposing feeling, and I want us to heal this up right here and right now, Aquarius, because by the time we get to September, okay, we have July and August to kind of like really, just go through it all. And for some people it is really, tormenting, the experiences coming in July and August, but it does not have to be that way. There are some very simple things that we can do that I'm going to outline for you right now to make all of this a little bit easier and to just bypass any torrential issues. Okay, so psychically, I'm going to, as I said, outline how to do better with this. So first, instead of trying to up the ante, instead of trying to, take certain things and make them bigger, greater, grander, wilder, the retrograde of Jupiter and Saturn in your sign indicate a paring down instead, a simplifying, a limiting, a making sure that everything that you're currently involved in is well polished and well oriented. And it might not have been in the way that you previously thought. So you might have been identifying problems where they didn't exist before. Okay. The answers to some of your problems might actually be in the actual output instead of in like the things behind the scenes, or instead of in relationships or whatever. Like, really look to how you're energizing throughout the day, simplify it, know what you need, and try to just have that honesty with it instead of feeling like there has to be a very complex solution, or there has to be some very alchemical or wild or distinctive, crazy answer to this problem, when it's probably just maybe a matter of like sleep cycles, or maybe it's a matter of diet, or maybe it's even just a matter of having done too much over the last few years and now actually needing a break, or actually needing a time of remembrance or solace even to evolve. Okay. Because as I've been mentioning, if any of you have listened to the other readings, especially for like Libra, Scorpio, Sag, and even Capricorn, this was coming up, but to a degree it is for everybody. We have to carry a lot more by the end of this year. Even September and forward, that latter half of 2021 requires a lot of strength. And interestingly, if you can kind of simplify things here and now, if you can heal, if you can vacate, if you can really put in some effort now, you can actually be healed by how much you have to do later. It's interesting. By having a completely booked schedule at the end of this year, it somehow fixes your circadian rhythms, or it somehow makes you feel very invested in something. But it gets a lot less psychological, which I think is great. Things are definitively psychological for Aquarius in July. 9 of Swords, 7 of Swords reversed, 5 of Wands, Knight of Swords reversed. Even the Emperor reversed. It's like a very psychological question about action and about choices and about strength and how one fits into a group. All of those things seem to be very much on the Aquarian mind. So again, in this process of outlining ways to keep this easy and tame, the first thing, yes, was simplifying, limiting, and pulling back a little bit, making sure that what you've already put out or what you've already created is well oiled and well polished, okay? Instead of just blasting off to the next thing. That is vital. Okay, so the next thing, and this in a way is maybe less striking, but it's just easy. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is ask yourself if people were correct. Like, if you've had conflict, if you've had arguments, if you've had a problem with another person that's still haunting you, were they correct, or was there a lie, or was there a disillusionment that maybe you started to believe? Like, for example, like drinking the Kool-Aid, basically, like starting to believe certain other people's psychoses or neuroses in order to understand their perspective, to empathize, and slowly then kind of losing your own moral compass, or losing your own gut feelings, tinging, or not tinging, but sort of corrupting the instinct of yourself and getting your own instincts like all off and all over the place. That's something else that I'm feeling. And this isn't just you, Aquarius. Like, I hope this reading isn't seeming like overwhelming, but I think that this is stuff that we can all nip in the bud here and now. Again, your sign is the most activated sign of this year, so this is very collective. Like, it's not so much individual. Like, everybody really is taking a pause here in July to understand what other people told them, to understand how other people were, whether it was, good or bad or right or wrong, and to basically come through with a much easier, polished way of existing. Okay, after this one. It sounds big, it sounds grand, it sounds huge, but it's a long period of time, 5 or 6 years culminating here in July, to give us, and August to a degree too, to give us a world to hold up of our own, or to give us our own type of signature, okay, our own type of identity that really is right for us. And it is sometimes arduous to have something so refined, or to create something so refined. And I do feel like Aquarius is called by the end of this year, and certainly by 2023, to have a very refined sort of essence, or a very refined signature that they are really proud of. So pressure creating diamonds, all of those cliches can be thought of at this time to really back you up or to really motivate some of these things that might feel heavy right now. This is potentially, and maybe even coming out of June, maybe it's already over for a lot of you, but potentially this is one of the most defining times for Aquarius when it comes to still existing in a previous difficulty, though feeling as if the power does exist to really level up and to really move on. Let's talk about your week-to-week Aquarius. Very deep reading, very, very perceptive. Okay, very perceptive energy coming in for you. Week 1, you've got 5 of Wands rooted down by 9 of Swords. Okay, so it's possible that conflict is here in the first week of July. It's possible that you just can't maybe have all of this, okay? That's not the best way to word it. It's possible that all of these things are not harmonious together. Like if you're running many different businesses, having many different motivations, something might have to be compromised, okay? There might need to be a compromise instead of forcing yourself to work like 3 different jobs or forcing yourself to fit in with 5 different, people who are not, harmonious with each other. So I can see sort of an energy of playing different sides. So trying to appeal to everybody. Like if there's a conflict in the family, you might still be very close to both people and they might both kind of want you to be against the other. It's kind of like that, regardless of the situation. And this could even be with motivations. Like maybe you have 2 different aspirations and they both want you, or both of these aspirations are kind of perfect for you, but they might not really harmonize. And here you are working with both of them at the same time, or, stuff like that's hard. Like that's human condition level difficulty. Even I've been having that a little bit myself. And it is very difficult to process when the universe actually gives you multiple things or actually bestows things which you don't really see how they come together, and neither are taken away, neither are omitted, and now it is up to us to choose. It feels indecisive in that first week, and it feels like yet a choice does have to be made very soon. I would say it stretches out to September. I would say you've got time with it, so try to not worry too much and try to just let your trust in something greater guide you, okay? Remembering humanity, remembering that the perfect decision doesn't always have to be made. Try to make the decision closest to your heart. The heart is now very important. We are descending into the heart now and getting out of the mind, getting out of the sort of third eye crown energy and into the heart. So it's not going to work to do things that just make sense on paper, to do things that just make sense for money's sake, to do things that just make sense because other people think it's right for you. Like that stuff's not working here. I mean, do you already feel that? I feel like I'm preaching here. Aquarians, do you already kind of feel how things that just kind of look good on paper, or things which are just for money's sake, things which are just because other people think it's right for you, how much that stuff hurts at this point in time, how much that stuff is a hassle, how much that stuff loses sleep for you? Like there has to be a big reckoning, okay? First or second week. Even in the second week, 10 of Pentacles rooted down by the Emperor reversed. You see it so clearly. You see like what you're meant for, or you see like what you're good at, and whether or not that's really meant to be at this point in time. And, I think that practicality is vital. Okay, so there is a need for practical decision making. There's a need for so that's contradicting what I've just talked about, because again, if it looks good on paper, if other people think it's right for us, if it's good in the money department, that seems practical. But is it really? If you're not invested in it, is that actually practical? If there's fragility within your connection to all of that, maybe it's not. So maybe there's a redefining of what practical actually is for you. Maybe there's a redefining of what actually is at stake. Ancestral karma comes up, 10 of Pentacles. It's a good time to do any type of genealogy research or meditations that center around the ancestry. Okay, that's very helpful. And as you're moving into the third week, you've got Knight of Cups rooted down by Queen of Wands. So yes, you are dealing with other people in the third week of July. And they seem quite influential. Okay, so the need to have allies is important. The need to have friends or support networks seems important in the third week of July. And to start understanding who is on your side. Fire signs, water signs seem to be coming up. And if this is more personal to you, it's a time that's really asking you to balance the more hidden nature that you have versus the more, outspoken and more popular, more Queen of Wands energy, more fiery, confident energy. Like these things are kind of antithetical, right? So we have this sort of yin yang opposing forces experience of the self coming in. Which side of me do I want to face the world with? Which aspiration do I want to focus? Do I want this more intuitive, empathetic, more yin way? Or do I want another still yin type of fiery exposition, performance, stepping up to the plate, ambition-oriented story? Okay, so there's what type of story do you want to write? What type of life do you want to create? What do you want to manifest? It's like the control that you have right now is incredible to choose. And that's really empowering, but also we can kind of see that when the universe doesn't necessarily choose for us or allows us this type of autonomy to choose ourselves, it now feels like we have a lot on the line, or it feels like, also if we make the wrong decision, that we are not really able to blame anyone else for that, which is a pretty daunting thing for a lot of people right now. So fourth week, you've got Knight of Swords reversed, rooted down by Seven of Swords reversed, ending the month with a need to slow down, a need again to prune, to remove dead weight, to carry less perhaps. I'm just seeing it over and over and over and over again for this month of July. I probably sound like a broken record if any of you have been listening to the other readings. But yeah, Seven of Swords is similar to me as Five of Wands and Ten of Wands, where not only does it indicate like a lie or some type of, advantage taking, it does indicate that, but it also just indicates carrying a lot of sharp things. Maybe it's like having a lot of power even, or a lot of capability, but you have so much and it's also unwieldy that you can scratch yourself, or there can be a unwieldy nature to what you're carrying. Because that's what I always get from Seven of Swords. It's like he's carrying the swords by the blades, not by the handles, which is like, it's going to cause injury. Okay, so how are we carrying what we have? How are we holding it? Is it too much? Is it safe? Is it ours? Okay, let's really think about that stuff. And then mixing with Knight of Swords reversed, it's such a load off. It's such a relief when you let go of things like that. When you stop carrying swords by the blade. When you stop, hyperbolically. When you stop cutting things that way. When you stop carrying things that you never even had to. Like there's a feeling of having a lot of relief from that. Okay. Anyway, Aquarius, let's talk more about this relief spectrum coming in by the end of July and moving into August in the extended reading on Patreon. I'll look at a central theme, two supporting themes, and an overall significator, and we can understand more about having relief this month. And also I'll look into the best way to make choices as well, the best meditative state to go to, the best perceptual way to really deliberate with what you have, because that feels also very important this month. It'll be linked in the center of the screen and below. Definitely come and check the Patreon page out. I also do a lot of other bonus content over there. It's a great value. And I think you would all really enjoy it. So yes, I will see you all soon. Have a great month. We are preparing for a very Aquarian happy end of the year, but there's some work to do here this month. I'll talk to you all soon. Much love. Bye.